Greetings, everyone. I have provided you with some footage from my garden from my previous home and some travel footage courtesy of my big sis. In this video, I'm going to talk about toxic relationships and perhaps ask the question, why is it so difficult to leave or sever ties with people who really bring out the worst in you or create trauma in you? Listen, a lot of us are socialized to think that if you're not with somebody, something is wrong with you. And that is far from the truth. I'm going to go on a limb and also say it is better to be single and lonely than being in a toxic relationship. And in our community, we don't have to look very far to see that. In fact, it's more the rule than the exception to that rule. And I'm going to speak personal and stuff that I've heard from other people. And in at least this video, the point is to say, love yourself. The most important thing is your peace. And money cannot buy that. Money cannot buy peace. Now, when we talk about toxic relationship, we see them everywhere. In our community, in our home, we see them on social media. Listen, if anything, our people does toxic very well. Now, people tend to think toxicity have to do with poverty, but not so. Not at all. But a lot of us remain in toxic situations because of our financial need or emotional attachment to people, or just the mere fact that we want something that we never had growing up. So some of us grew up in households where, there was not this husband, wife, and children dichotomy. It was broken. And even if you grew up in a household where people were married, as is my case, I grew up with my aunt and uncle who were married. You want that, or you want that for your children. And so many of us enter into relationships marrying people that we don't know. And sometimes when you don't know people, you don't get to see beforehand, before you say I do, that these persons have trauma. And the trauma manifests itself in so many different ways. So infidelity could be one of those trauma, believe it or not. Sometimes when people cheat in relationships, take extended partners while you're still married to you, you're thinking it's you. You take it so personal. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the individual who has gone to seek something that they clearly don't have inside. It's not just about that physical encounter. It's about that lack. Something is missing. And some of these individuals have no conscience. So they'll do it. They're serial cheaters. And they go out and they violate the person that they claim they love. And sometimes they really do love these individuals. But let me just give an example. I remember my ex-partner saying to me that he loved me and he wanted to do all these great things. And I said to him, I believe you. I believe that you really want to do that, but you're not capable of doing it. And you're not able to love me the way I deserve to be loved. And that was the key. Now, being in a toxic situation, these individuals also know how to control your mind. And individuals who are serial cheaters, they're often very charming. And when they turn on that affection and that love, you are addicted to that. And so you're not able to separate yourself from the fantasy, the romance, to the reality of who this person is. Oftentimes broken. We cannot fix people. We have to try to fix ourselves. So when a man or a woman is going out of that relationship to seek, physical, whatever it is that they're seeking for, where they end up in someone else's bed, it's hard for you not to take it personal. But I'm going to say to you, do not take it personal. What you must do is evaluate if this situation is breaking you, is affecting your self-esteem, is breaking your heart, is causing you to feel like you're not enough. It has nothing to do with you not being enough. And if you're not careful and dismiss those kinds of feelings, even if you leave that relationship, you're going to end up in another one that's very similar. It is not about you, it is about that individual's behavior. And as I said in previous videos, a man, the way he's wired, has to have a lot of self control to be able to maintain that relationship between himself and the woman. And you don't have to tolerate his infidelity. If you do tolerate it, and we're not talking about a one off situation, uh, this is a serial cheater. And every time the person goes out and get what they desire, they're not thinking about you and your needs. So at some point, if this is something that is a deal breaker for you and you're saying, I'm not going to tolerate this anymore, you leave and you leave with your peace. But a lot of times we're not able to leave with our peace because we're looking at the children, we're looking at the financial situation. Some people invest so much together, they don't want to separate that. But listen, the kids are going to grow up and sometimes they're angry with you. If you're a woman, kids can hate you because they say, why did you tolerate this or that? That's not something else for you to worry about or to pack up on your head. It's for you to then use that situation to say, you know what? I tolerated this, because people can only do to you what you allow them to do. So I tolerated this. Now it's time for me to search, look within myself to see what's missing. What is the reason, or what was the reason why I tolerated all of this? And a lot of times I'm telling you, it's fear. There are women who men have violated. When I mean violate, they leave them and they take another partner. And when things don't work out, they take them back. So ask yourself the question, what is it about me that allows myself to be someone's, carpet? And how can I start to love myself more? How can I start valuing myself? Because it's not about the other person respecting you or valuing you. It's about you respecting yourself and demanding more of that from other people. Okay. And I know breaking up is hard to do. And sometimes when you're going through the process of, making up your mind to leave a toxic situation, you know, when you're talking to people, you feel so empowered, you feel so emboldened. You're like, I'm not tolerating this. But after you get off the phone, you go right back to being what is considered to be weak. It's nothing for you to feel bad about or to beat up yourself about, because at the end of the day, I'm going to say that a lot of people in relationship, especially women, I'd say 90% of women leave before they leave. They tolerate the stuff for as long as they feel that they are not able to go on their way to sever ties with these broken people, because we're all broken in one way or the other. um, the decision to leave must be based on your own personal situation, not what someone else tells you. This is why people are saying they'll come right out and say, you need to get out of that. No, you have to decide, I'm getting out of this because I will not tolerate any more of this, or I'm worth more. And you should think that, oh, I'm going to get out of this so I can be in another relationship. No, get out of it to be in a relationship with yourself. And that can start with you still living in the same household with that person. Because, like I said, a lot of women leave long before they leave. Okay. Loving yourself, honoring yourself, respecting yourself is all these things you can learn to do while you're in this situation. It's not worth your peace to live in a big, sprawling mansion and not be at peace because you're not getting respect from the person who you committed to or you wanted to spend the rest of your life with. Sometimes We meet people and we get into relationship with people because they're meant to bring us to that path and no further. We're only supposed to go to that destination together. So that's why you have friends who you have to sever ties with, because they're only meant to go a certain part of the journey and no further. That relationship is dead in the water a long time ago. You could have ended it at year one and you continued until year 20. And as the year grow, you separate further and further apart. Listen, stop being hard on yourself. Stop beating up yourself. Look in the mirror. The mirror is a spiritual thing, it's a magical thing. It allows you to see your soul. Look in the mirror and ask yourself a few questions. What am I doing? How is this serving me? How can I free myself from what feels like a bondage? These are questions only you can ask yourself. And when you're doing it, do not do it out of fear. Do not answer those questions by saying, but I can't, because at the end of the day, remember, we come into this world by ourselves, unless you're a twin or something. We come in here, and more than likely, you're going to exit by yourself. And therefore, any relationship you have with another human being, no matter how much you love that person, if they go transition to the other world, you're going to have to live without them. People know how to live without you. The very people you're trying to protect, the children, the partner, the family, the this, that, or the other, they can live without you. You'll be surprised to see how you're forgiving and always forgiving people who violate you. And then, when it comes to that time, you're holding on to someone who doesn't want to be held on to. A lot of times these people will go out and do these terrible things to you because they want you to get rid of them. They sometimes don't have the courage to get rid of you, so they do the things to put you in a position to get rid of them. And if you don't, eventually they will get rid of you. So, whatever relationship you're having, and we're in the relationship series and we're going to continue in this, whatever relationship you're in, if it's not serving you, if it's not bringing peace and joy and happiness to you, it is not worth it. Holding on to people, thinking that when you give them money, when you give them love, when you give them forgiveness and understanding, it's going to make them love you. Sometimes it makes them resent you even more, because listen, they can't love you because you don't love yourself. You can't stand up and demand the respect that you deserve. Therefore, when they look at you, you disgust them. So think about it that way the next time you have a decision to make. And do not allow fear to stop you from moving forward. Whatever it is, whatever decision you have to make, that fear, get rid of it. Because at the end of the day, it is only going to bring more of whatever you're trying to run away from. And if you allow fear to interrupt your future or your choices, at the end of the day, you lose. Stay blessed, everyone.